Okay, welcome to the podcast. We have some exciting. I don't know if it's going to be exciting, but we've got some. We're all over the place. So John had an insight, which we'll get to. He was asking me, "What do you want to talk about on the podcast?" So I started entertaining that question, then talking, and then we were like, "We should be rolling." And then I kept talking, and then he's like, "Are you rolling?" So we're rolling now.
And we already said all the good shit and
We
probably
already
can't
said all
say
the
it the
good
same
shit.
way.
Yeah. So
It's done.
So, welcome back. We got some great comments on the last, or a couple of nice comments.
Nice comments. Yes.
Thank you for commenting.
Nicely.
Levos Pro, I can't believe you uploaded these for free. Thank you. You're welcome. And Happy Midwife comments 5904. Brendan sounds like Ludo from the Labyrinth. Ha 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 ha. Fantastic podcast, Darcy X. Thank you for listening. And I had to look up because I have seen The Labyrinth. Awesome movie from way back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I looked up Ludo and I was like, well, by God, I do sound like Ludo from The Labyrinth.
Sometimes.
Yeah. So, John had an insight.
Oh yeah. Um,
What happened?
well, I think I was cleaning my French press and fiddling around with the dishes in the sink, and I had been contemplating, I suppose. Well, here's what it was. Here's what it was. My partner, she's experiencing a bunch of drama at work. He said stuff, she said stuff, and this and that, and going back and forth. And she's like,
Gossip.
John, I just don't know what's true. And I just was like, none of it's fucking true. It's so clear. It's all 100% made up. It's just people thinking about what they think and believe, which is based on concepts, and what other people think that they think about
Oh,
what they
God.
think. And it's just an endless sea, a web of perception and conception. And even the perception is mostly conception. And then while I was cleaning my French press, which I love dearly.
Which is funny. Anyway, it's funny that it's a French press. Ha 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 ha.
Oh yeah, which they're not actually French, so I've heard. Yeah, they're not a French invention. But anyway, um I was cleaning it and I realized that the way that I was cleaning it, even the subtle movements of my hand were were like directed by memory, which is conceptual. And I didn't like get that intellectually. Like I could watch it happening in my body. Like my
Yeah.
body is directed by memory. And I was like, we're not like other animals. Like other animals, their movements are directed very much by their senses. And ours are too, but much more than that, even sometimes. Like, it's just a wash. Like, everything that you see, feel, touch is just constantly uh, commented upon and tagged and bookmarked and shelved away and filed and indexed and connected to like just a library of concept. It's a living one and it's ongoing and you're updating it and shit gets lost and it's it's like, oh my God. And I couldn't do anything except for laugh because everywhere I looked there was just this is what it is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we are a swimming in this world that is all made up. And that's saying it's I'm not saying that it doesn't matter or it's not important or that it's not, very powerful or effective or whatever. Like we do this stuff for reasons, all related to our survival as human beings.
Which
This
is
is
also
how
made
we.
up. I mean, the matter and the import and the.
I didn't get that. I didn't go that far with it. I just got that Um, yeah, it's everywhere, just thick, 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 thick. It's like swimming in the ocean and you find that you're made up of it. But I don't want to conflate it with like some kind of an enlightenment experience or an absolute nature kind of thing. It's not like that.
Yeah.
It's just making the distinction very clearly of concept and seeing. It's kind of weird. I was like in a different state a little bit because it was easy to kind of notice the phenomena arising on levels that I don't normally notice
Mm,
it.
yeah.
Like stuff like specifically inside like my physical movement. Because I don't think people usually think of like their physical movements as being directed by concept, but look again, because they are heavily. And maybe like if you truly have a reflex, like someone hits your knee just right, or
Right. Yeah.
you get burnt and you pull your hand away real fast. That shit, I don't think that's conceptual. But like shy of stuff like that, oh yeah, there's a ton of concept. Even like all of our really, really good training, like your Ching Shin, if you get really, really good Ching Shin, it's because you have phenomenally good conceptual, you know,
Like that
structures
ability.
that map onto
I was
reality
right.
way better than what other people are doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like it requires that ability to feel.
Yeah. And they are grounded in our sensations, but I don't get that we have super, super sharp senses compared to like cats, and
Mm-mm.
other things. I don't think that's the case. I think our senses comparatively, most of them are rather dull, but it's then what we do with all that sensory data. And boy, do we do a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's great.
Anyway, neither here nor there. I mean, it's like if that's of any use or value to anyone, I don't know, but it was certainly an interesting experience to notice that.
Yeah, no, that's fucking cool. Yeah, it's good. It's good to get. I mean, it's good to get experiential. You know that because that's the shit you go, holy fuck, oh god, yeah, yeah, yeah. This is the difference between hearing about, oh yeah, it's all concept, and then when you get that it's a shitload of concept,
Yeah.
it's a mind blower.
And she asked me too. She was like, "What, but I don't know how to react.
Oh,
I don't know
act
how
on
to
gossip.
be that, yeah, in this
Yeah.
game of gossip and
Oh fuck,
what
bitch.
agendas and all this stuff." And she's like, "What do you do?" And I said, "Well, maybe something really useful could be to get that it's a game. Just get that none of it is true. And then when you start to see that it's like a game, then maybe you can play."
Yeah, or play differently, or relate to it differently, or be a lot more free when you're relating.
Yeah, however you choose to do, you'll know better from that place. You'll have a better vantage point from which to act.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And to be clear, I've got nothing wrong with use and value.
Oh yeah, we do poo-poo it a bit in here.
Oh, we do? Yeah, because I'm actually noticing a trend here where you're like use and value. And the use and value thing, if I could clarify, or I can clarify, is I fucking love use and value. It's just when people are trying to become conscious, it's useful to make a distinction between when I'm going for what's useful and valuable and when I'm going for what's true. That's all.
It's useful to not go for what's useful when you're
Yes.
going for the truth.
Yeah. And, or we could say essential.
Yeah, okay.
So maybe try to take it out of use and value completely, so it's not useful or like it's not disuseful, it's not useful, it's just wrong direction. It's like a different world. Maybe we could frame it up that way. It's like there's the world of use and value, fucking great, I am all about it, no problem. It just gets in the way when people are trying to get conscious, that's all.
Hmm.
'Cause I was talking to Peter and thought about, or I sent I backing up. There's a guy, Brian Tracy. Have you heard of him?
I think so.
He's like an OG sales guy, like trainer for
Oh
sales.
yeah.
I like him. He's really good, excellent. And There was a clip of him talking about, he's like, people don't, I'm going to give you some advice that's worth $1 million. This advice is worth $1 million. He's like, people don't care about you. They don't care about your company. They don't even care about your product or your company's story. They care about what your product or service can do for them.
Hmm.
That's all they care about. Me, 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 me. That's the part that Peter really liked. He's like, oh, he says the same shit I do. It's like, yeah, you're the problem, is what he's on about now. But like, me, right? It's about me. So when you're running a business, it's like, they don't give a fuck about. Maybe that's why I was upset. Anyway, that
Tell. Do tell.
I was upset yesterday. I was experiencing negative emotions. I don't know. Maybe that I'm speculating. I have no idea, but maybe in the background it's something like, "Oh, it's not about me." Fuck, like throwing a little. It's like a little tantrum or hissy fit about
Oh.
in the core. It's not me. It's like trying to come to grips with. I'm trying to be more powerful and effective in my business and spreading Cheng Shin and gathering a community and gathering a team so I can put more of this work out into the world. And I think that when people do business, it's a
Hmm.
fucking ass kicker. Like,
Oh.
like when I train martial arts, I got it in the training where it's like when I'm going to align with a principle, it's not about me, and that kicks my ass. So like I have to give up myself to be good. And I think it's the same in business where it's like business, in order for business to work, I can't be me focused. I have to be people focused, systems focused, organization focused, serving them focused, giving them value, not me. Like in order to be good.
Right.
See, I could be me focused and do business perhaps with like a selfish, as Peter was on his podcast, recent, talking about snake oil salesmen and sleazy shit where I could con people. That is a way to go. That seems more me focused. But in order for me to like run a solid business, fuck, dude, it kicks my ass.
Yeah.
It's much easier to work for somebody else who's made the systems, who's set up the infrastructure, who's got all the payment stuff handled, and I just plug and play. But to create it, fuck. So I don't know why I got on that track. Maybe I
So
was upset by something triggered. I don't know. I was not happy.
so like can I imagine some stuff? And maybe I'm way, way off base.
Yeah, sure.
Um, because I imagine
Oh, and I remember
that
my point where I was going, but go ahead.
okay, well you say it's an ass kicker, like running a business is an ass kicker.
Seemingly, yeah.
And doing good martial arts is an ass kicker, and having a committed relationship is an ass kicker. And when you
Yeah.
say an ass kicker, I think what you mean is that it's challenging to the exclusive self agenda
Yeah. It
of
challenges me like a little singular agenda driven
the hidden
shitbird.
sneaky one.
Yeah. The internal, always me focused, or like having a kid, I imagine, is the same. It's not about you anymore. You are fucking, your boss is like a foot tall and
Hmm.
screams at you, and you have to be like, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Can I
Yeah.
have another? If you're going to be
Yeah.
good as a parent, I don't know, or like a merit. Yeah, sure.
So that's maybe like what gets in the way of people getting fully invested in their work or in their relationships or whatever. It's I imagine that what you experienced was kind of like on a big macro level, uh, a tantrum, like a well, why not kind of
It's
like,
yeah, it's like look
what?
at me or something like that, or
But for if you want to get really good at Chang Shin, if you want to get really good at business, have a very successful business, there's going to be a great deal of self-sacrifice.
yeah,
You're going to be letting go of your own agenda constantly to engage in a grander agenda that you actually, strangely, you want to do, or you wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, or we make a distinction between an agenda and creating a possibility.
Okay.
Like an ideal driven agenda is that
Yeah.
old programming bullshit. And that's different than like consciously creating a possibility. It's like I'm choosing this. This one I've already chosen is running already. Like I'm running it
Okay.
already. Do you get the distinction there?
Yeah, I think a bit.
Like I could create a business to fulfill something in me because I'm broken. That's still agenda driven.
Hmm.
Or I could create a business to create a business free of an agenda, free of the ideals, free of it's going to fix me, what it's going to do for me, and all that stuff. No, I'm just choosing that. That that would be like creating a possibility.
Okay. And that,
Like
okay.
one is a choice, the other one is like based on automatic programming. And what I mean by that is, the shit you built when you were probably younger, definitely younger, because otherwise you wouldn't have it. I need to fix myself. I'm broken. I'm fucked up, or whatever.
Right.
I'll get the perfect relationship, and then that'll finally resolve all my problems, and you're going to resolve it for me. And when that doesn't work,
Yeah,
more
yeah.
tantrums to come. Most people are in that world.
Okay.
Brutal. At least those are some distinctions I make about that.
Okay. Well, I just asked because I thought that maybe that's something that probably a lot of people experience when they're confronted with any big project or commitment,
Sure. I
you
mean,
know,
I don't see it any other way.
and the feelings that might arise with that. I
Yeah.
can see that.
And then I like it every so often. I talk to some people that have either rubbed shoulders with people who are famous or wealthy, or like they've reached the top of their game, or I hear people at the top of their game talk, or like I was saying, I was talking to some ex-professional baseball players that it's like everybody goes through shit from the bottom to the top. It doesn't matter, because like for example, this guy talking about his experience when he first got into the major leagues, or like the big leagues in baseball. There's like
Yeah.
levels to this shit, right? And he finally started getting in there, and he said, and he's young, athletic, alone, and his manager is telling him like, hey, if you don't step it up, you're out. And it's like, this is what he's been wanting to do, and he had to like fucking reckon with himself. And then we might think, not being in the big leagues, oh, they have it so easy. They're making a shit ton of money. Yeah, they're making a shit ton of money to play a sport, which is fantastic for them. It doesn't mean they don't go through shit. Like,
Hmm.
hey, how would you handle being young, athletic, alone, and having to like rewire your own brain because your manager is being like, yeah, this dream that you've been dreaming forever is going to go away if you don't step it up. It's like, fuck, right? Or you
Time to
have a
step it up.
kid, or yeah, and then you find a way. In his case, he did stuff with his mind. He rewired how he did his mind, to work
Hmm.
better, to function. But it's just like, it's interesting what. So yes, people get challenged across the board. It's a challenge. Any big project, any big commitment. I don't see it another way.
How do you think it occurs in one's experience, if there's a generality or a principle to draw from or a universal factor when somebody might be driven to do something like create a business or whatever by, let's say, an agenda that's focused on completing them as a person or something like that,
Yeah, sure.
versus kind of like an open possibility, something that you were talking about earlier. What would the experience be like at the inception point and in the follow through for trying to carry out those two different kinds of endeavor.
Inception point. I I don't understand the question, and I also don't think I think about it that way. Now, the way that I do think about it is people do stuff. Whether their actions are agenda driven or not, if they still take that same action, they've taken the action. It's just where
Okay.
they're coming from about that. So if the action produces a certain result, then the action produces a certain result. How they feel about it is how they feel about it. So then, because we, then if like, say somebody were to study Cheng Shin for a while, thinking it would fix them. I don't know anybody like that. They would still take the actions and learn the skills, but then eventually they'd realize that what they were learning or where they were coming from when they were learning it was coming from an ideal, and then they might go, well, I might want to quit now because it's not working, or do I keep going? Okay, well, if I'm going to keep going, I have to change how I am relating to this action. I have to
Yeah.
change where I'm coming from, change the context in which I'm holding the action.
So that I think that's what I'm trying to get at is like the difference in context. How would that difference in context occur for somebody if they were doing Ching Shin and then they realized that it wasn't going to do what they thought that it would for them, yet they continue to train? Or somebody's say they start a business and it's to, I don't know, fulfill some kind of agenda that's um maybe unconscious or uncognized, and
Yeah.
actually it's bringing with it like probably a fair amount of suffering in some way or another, and then they realize that it's not going to get them that thing, that business or whatever, and yet there they continue on with the business. Or maybe somebody conceives of one business that's agenda there it's based on agenda, and then totally free of all that, they conceive of a completely different project
Yeah.
at another point in life. What would the difference be in their experience, um, as far as the in those
Right.
contexts?
Yeah, sure. I would hazard a guess. Some of the well, one difference might be in one there's a lot of emotional pain, and in the other one it's just a simple decision.
Okay.
Like one, if they're driven, and again, there's nothing wrong with being driven. You know, if they want to create something, they want to create something. But if they, one's more simple, it seems. The one that's free of all that extra crap. It's just a simple, I'm doing this. There's nothing
Hmm.
else attached to it.
Hmm.
Now, the person may or may not recognize how much pain they're actually in. This is, I think, usually the case.
Hmm.
Like they have no idea how much it hurts. Like when I go on about ideals and stuff like that in the workshops, I talk about like comparison. If
Hmm.
I compare, do you ever watch yourself compare yourself to others?
I never do that.
No, me neither. But see, but it's like, oh, okay, they're better than me,
Yeah.
as if I need to do that, and as if it matters. But if somebody's better than me, then I'm worse than them. The only way that gets to happen is if I make it up in my mind, going back to, hey, concept, right? And it's a
Yeah.
concept that I'd make, that I do, that hurts for no reason. It's just usually people that do shit like that and they have it all locked up and then it's unconscious. It gets even worse because not only do they do the thing and then they have a story about why they do the thing, which justifies it. And then they also probably have another component that they need to do that. So they do not only, they're not just doing the thing, they're doing the thing from a place of trying to solve an ideal. They have a story that justifies it, and then the need locks it all in place. They don't need the
Wow.
need. They don't even need the fucking story, and they don't need the agenda. They just need the action. See, so it's like an action plus all this extra shit. So without the extra shit, it's just the action. It's pure. But we see
Sounds
that
like
usually that is not the case.
a
Oh, and even worse, all that extra shit is usually unconscious, unrecognized. You're doing it, but you don't even know that it's there. You just have a feeling and you act on it and you don't know why.
but it's the only one, right? There aren't any other programs in there
Right.
uncognized.
Right. It gets even worse than that. That's just one program. You have fuck tons of this shit, and it could get even worse.
Why? Tell us more, Brendan. Tell us more.
Because you could have one program that does one thing and then another program that is like counter to that program. They don't even work together. And you could have several of those operating.
Brendan, how is it that human beings are still surviving on this planet?
Because that shit works
What
for
do you mean
staying
that
alive.
works?
Dude, because one, I mean, not, we're highly conceptual. I guess, I think one reason why that really works is we can organize massive numbers. And we can do shit with objects that other creatures cannot do.
Comes with a lot of organizational ability.
Yeah, but then again, I mean, viruses are fairly organized, but they're not organized. They just have a very simple program that works.
Yeah.
Apparently, you know, I heard from Peter, who studied this kind of shit, was like, apparently a virus, all it is a little something with an RNA inside it, and that's it. And they land on a cell, shoot the RNA into the cell, and that RNA turns the cell into a factory to make more viruses, and that's all it does. Very simple, very effective. But those motherfuckers aren't talking to each other like, Delta Charlie, I think we need to go for these liver cells over here, and that's no, you guys go focus on the brain cells up there, and then okay, now coordinated attack tomorrow at noon. We're all gonna go in there. No, they just do their thing.
Yeah.
But we can figure out that viruses, how they work. We can figure out that if we can figure out how to kill them, take dead viruses, shoot them into a body, then make the body react, have antibodies to kill those same viruses, or go vaccine. You know, like basically how a vaccine works. And we can do that shit. We can figure out rockets and firearms. We could kill a deadly animal at 500 yards from the back of a truck. Which,
like
back in the day,
no man in Vermont, no Vermont boy has ever done one one day after work after 2 beers.
You're right. Yeah, no. Go fucking yeah. There's I was out younger drinking one time and in Vermont, and there was this. I was over at a friend's house, and then late night there was some commotion downstairs, and I looked out the window. I see a car pull up, and then I see a deer body being pulled from the back of the car into a house and just gone. Out of season, right? It is not hunting season. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
It's like, it's a big deal, apparently, to poach a deer. But in either case, we went down there and the guts were in there, and my buddy's like, took the deer heart and took a big bite out of it. He's like, you want some? I'm like, sure, fuck it. Like, interesting.
How was it?
It was good. I think it tastes a little bit like liver. And it was also really heavy. I don't think people think about it, but hearts is a muscle.
Yeah.
It's really dense. It's really heavy.
Yeah, they've got to be strong, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that got off topic.
Yeah, we went off topic. Okay, so back to my original. So I was talking to, what was I talking to Peter about? Oh, yeah. Basically, it's like people don't care about you. They don't care about your business. They don't care about your business story. They care about what your business can do for them. And also, he said 85, like 15%, some statistic like this, 15% of people's buying decision comes from, well, I can't remember what that 15% was from, but 85% of people's buying decision comes from their idea of a future and what that product or service is going to do for them in the future. It is a future idea. This is why people buy shit. Which I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah, the idea. So again, going back to your insight, concept. People buy shit based on a concept of the future. The concept that the future outcome, that's what it was, future outcome is worth more, it's worth them shelling out the money in their pocket. So it's a concept. So then I was biking with Peter and asked, well, what concepts can we communicate? Because then I'm like, okay, well, if I'm going to sell Cheng Shin or I'm going to sell consciousness work or the work that I do, how could I do that? Because in a way that keeps my integrity, which is a way, like, how can I do that and be honest? And we actually can, apparently. It's like, how do we communicate, or what would we communicate? So I asked, like, well, what would we say? He's like, well, something like this. Basically, the work that we do, the outcome that is badass, the outcome that people get again and again and again from doing this work is they're happy. They're free. They can be effective and powerful. You can learn better. Those are outcomes. Now, the work does not create the outcome. The work allows you to create that outcome for yourself if you want it. That's
and
like,
you do.
And you already do want that shit. Who doesn't? Would you want to be more free and happy? Anybody? More powerful, more effective. Yeah. Learn faster.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Free and happy right there. Yeah. And then I was, continuing and talking to him. I'm like, well, but we can't tell him how we do the work because that's just boring. And it's counterintuitive. It's just literally those are the outcomes. Literally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not blowing smoke. I'm like, if you do this work, you will be empowered in those areas. It's just you have to do it. We get you there as if, but it's that is the outcome. And that, oh, right. And then he's like, okay, and then once you get all that stuff, then you can start to consider what's true. If you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Because the truth doesn't give a shit about any of those outcomes. It just so happens that those outcomes are a byproduct of engaging in this work. A byproduct. That's like the stuff we're like, okay, yeah, so good. You know all that shit that people try to sell and they really sell the shit out of it and they probably make millions of dollars? Like we're looking at this guy, Dr. Joe Dispenza or whatever, looking around at some stuff. The dude, I'm sure, is a multimillionaire. He runs these workshops on what? Healing. Oh, yeah, healing's also a part of the deal here, too. You can get healthy. Everybody is making shit tons of money selling the stuff that we hold as like, just let's get that out of the way so we can actually do some work.
That suggests to me that the actual do some work is, I don't have another word to use, so I'm going to use the word, of more value than all the value. You know?
Sure. I'm okay with that.
It's
I never
like,
thought of it that way,
you
but
know how it's sort of like, you know how you want to be really, really happy, free, and better at everything? Well, we can help you with that. And you know how that would be amazing, right? Like really, really amazing. There's something better.
yeah, there's something more.
More.
Yeah, there's something more. We go for the more. We don't like. I think that's part of our challenge. Is like we're like, yeah, so what? Use and value, but that's like what. And more I'm starting to see how much that's all people do. It's like they look for use and like Eckhart Tolle healing people, Joe Dispenza healing people. Go on Headspace. It's all about mental health. You go on any of the business gurus, make money, be better, performance coaches, improve yourself.
Yeah.
All the spiritual shit. It's like Buddhism, save all sentient beings from suffering, end suffering. We don't do any of that shit. It's just that stuff happens as a byproduct of what we do. And we do it for real. I mean, people do that for real, engaging in this work. Anyway, so blah, blah. Interesting side note, half a sales pitch there, just like check it out. And that completes what I was talking about.
Okie dokie. So come do a workshop.
Come to a workshop is the next thing. Check us out on School. Join the School community. See if engaging in this work is even something you'd like. Leave a link in the description. Let's see. So where are we at? I wanted to talk about so because I went all Gunji Garundi, what's that guy's name? Ludo.
Oh yeah.
From last time. You remember so I put a conundrum out to John. Oh, and he was playing devil's advocate, and the conundrum was, what's a world without religion? And I saw you pushing back on that, and then I was also but what were you doing when you were pushing back? What were you doing? Do you remember?
I was kind of going at the assumption that religions are distinct things that are really separate from culture, language, um, and people, and that they don't have like such just colossal overlap with things like political ideology and so many different kinds of like um, human tendencies, like towards conservatism. How do you say that word?
Conservatism?
Conservatism, or
Concretism?
or uh, or or progressivism. These things can be like religions.
Right. Okay. Right.
And you go to France, and even if they're not religious, you compare them to a non-religious person in a lot of parts of the States, they're just going to hold things in such a very different way sometimes, and that's just between France and the US,
Mm-hmm.
economically and socially, that it becomes in some ways like a religion. Like they have basic assumptions about morality and truth and human nature even and so forth, that
Yeah.
it's like the line of where a religion stops and starts is not so clear to me. And so I think that's what I was pushing back on. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to take out religion, well, like where the fuck do you stop?
Right. And I'm noticing what you just said. I'm noticing that in the way that I'm thinking. I think I wanted it to be black and white, and it's not.
Hmm.
So I was looking for something definitive about that. Yeah. And so one of the things that came up for me when you were talking to me about that was, you're like, I noticed a distinction between, there's more than just believing stuff. Now, so say so religion, maybe we could say it's like that act of believing. We could call it an act of believing. And when it's a group of people believing one thing about something, it's like a religion. Like, we could even say perhaps being an American is like a religion. It's the religion of being American. It's like, and then,
But
or like I'm a conservative, or I'm a Christian, or see, that kind of messes with my idea of religion. And there's a difference between believing in stuff and having a story about it, and then the actual knowing. There is this other domain that I think exists where that does not need religion. And what I mean by that, it does not need believing. I can understand something. I don't need a religion to tell me what that understanding is. Now, if I want to widely share that, now maybe I need a story or a concept that we can language about, because that's how we share shit with each other, by languaging about it. And if we do it, like, say, gravity, for example, like one guy goes, what the fuck is that? Oh, oh, about which we say gravity, and then we can make discoveries. Again, that's that understanding stuff that we don't need religion for, in
Mhm.
believing. Oh, and then we can write the books, and then that can be a religion, the religion of gravity or whatever. But the
Mm.
understanding is in a different domain.
Yeah.
I was like, we can actually do the understanding part. Now, I think it gets tricky because then people hear about understanding and then they believe about the understanding. Like when I do contemplation intensives, it's really
Yeah.
challenging because in order for you, if you want to get enlightened or have what we call direct consciousness, you may have to have at least the thought that there's something more without the experience, which is like a belief, or you believe it's possible. And then you can also understand that it is possible, that is seemingly outside of a belief domain. For me, I've had stuff like that where it's like, I just know it in my bones. I don't need to believe about it. It's just somehow I get that it's possible. Is that a belief or not? I don't know. Seems like not.
Can you give an example?
Sure, like when I was working, so when I way at the beginning, I started doing this consciousness work. Like I said, I didn't care about it, and it was we would do the experiencing the nature of being workshop. This is when I was participating and learning, right? So I'm like, boom, huh? And then I do it again, huh? Do the workshop again. Boom, I did it. I mean, I've done that workshop shit loads of times now. It's crazy. And over time, I started to get that there's something to get. Oh, there's something here. How did I get that?
Mm.
Is somebody telling me there's something? No, like somehow it
Mhm.
came through in the work, or like, I can imagine it would be maybe similar. Well, okay, no, not similar at all, but in a similar direction at least. Newton got that. Wait a minute. What I call that like the wait a minutes, where it's like, wait a minute,
Mhm.
there's something going on, like with gravity. What? Wait, 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 wait. Everybody's like, why are you looking at that? He's like, shh, leave me alone. No. What the fuck? What's that about? That is somehow getting, wait a minute, there's something to get. That's an example. Or, say working on leading or something in some of the higher level martial skills, like Peter will say something and then after it's like, what, huh? Okay, like a possibility, somehow getting this, something is possible outside of what I already know, but somehow I'm like, I know it's possible. Yeah, I don't know.
So like I think that if we go around living in the world of
Oh, right.
perception
Go
and
ahead.
conception all the time,
Yeah.
which we do, then mostly what we do is think, conclude, validate, believe.
Yeah.
But
That's the
that's
structure in which we operate
yeah,
by and
and
large.
it's the thing about that stuff is it's dead. It's
What do you
like
mean?
as if already happened. We're engaging with the text. We're not engaging with what the text is about.
What do you mean?
Well, like we're reading the book on how to ride a bike rather than just getting on the fucking bike.
Yes,
But I mean that broadly.
sure.
And
Or our
and
social world is like that. It's
yeah.
not, it's just something we're making up together. The bodies don't inherently have a social world. We do together. And it shares that same made upness.
So it's hard for people to get how that's the water we're swimming in. It's hard for me to get it. Like I feel like I need to get it and get it and get it and get it again.
Mm-hmm.
And um and I think that that's actually the problem. It's not the problem of religion. Religion is just like the most egregious example. You see
Right.
what I mean? But the phenomena is much, if you took away all the religion, what would happen? New religions would come
Right,
up
right,
out of the
right, right, right,
woodwork.
right,
Like,
right. Okay, yeah.
you see what I mean?
Yes.
Because we as human beings are not trained to recognize the conceptual nature of our conceptions
Yes. Yeah.
from an early
We
age.
don't
Like
even know thoughts
our
aren't
thoughts, we
yeah,
need
they're
to
not real.
get kids indoctrinated into learning to not get indoctrinated.
Yes. Okay, which brings me to I think finally now I think we're at the precipice. So now
Someone's gonna die.
what would it be like to live in a world where we did not engage that aspect?
Suppose you'd have to be Peter Ralston.
Without no, don't avoid. This
All
is
right,
where
all
we
right.
went. This
All
is
right,
where
I'm
we
going. I'm going with you.
yeah,
All right. Should I die?
let's try it. Like, can we do that? What would it be
Okay.
like to be in that place, which is already available as far as I can tell? It's not like it's just don't engage believing in things. What would it be like to not? There's a lot of concept. It's like no. I'm like no. Like we can live in a world where we understand stuff,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but no belief. Just set it as if you set it aside for a moment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What's it like? We just anything that we can possibly find that is in the belief, haven't experienced it department, like toss it. What do we got left? I mean, we
I,
can bring it back. We can bring it back, no problem. You will.
Well,
There's a lot of shit I can't do. Like
yeah, but you can also be really, really here.
I think that's part of the deal. If I
And
don't do that.
it doesn't mean that you can't conceptualize.
Nope.
You've just gotta recognize just see it as a conception. Like that's not a flag until I make it a flag, but you see what I mean? Like I'm looking over there, there's a
Yeah,
French flag.
yeah. And you understand a flag. You don't have to believe about now anything you believe about the flag, that's a belief. Like it's a French flag and that's all the meaning it has or whatever, or if it's an American, whatever flag it is.
Yeah.
See, or it's believing about. Like so then we could apply that to culture. We could apply that to life, what the meaning of life is. That's all belief. How the universe works, that's all belief. Sure, you have science, but it's that science belief, like the Big Bang, all that. The sun's going to come up tomorrow. We don't know. We can have some understanding that's based on a lot of evidence, but really we don't know. That my parents are alive or dead, like, I don't know. That my past history means something, I don't know. Anyway, I just was messing around with that. It seems like they're like, again, it's that like going back to your insight, the conceptual overlay is immense. It's like
Do you
all
think that people
pervasive.
become afraid that they're going to fail to function? That
Yes.
they won't know what to do?
There are many, I wanted to say excuses,
Yeah.
but they show up like excuses when I hear them. Oh yeah, I would do that, and then but, and then blah, blah, whatever is after that word is going to be bullshit. Really, yes, there's fear. Some of the fears that I hear, I'm going to lose myself. I won't know what to do. Which one, you're going to lose yourself? No, you're fucking not. As Peter would say, you should be so lucky. Two, I won't know what to do. Bullshit. You will know what to do. You'll do something, and it doesn't make you, as Peter would say, as we would say here, it's like consciousness doesn't make you stupid. Everything you can do now, you can do. Because people ask these questions, if I get enlightened, will I not like beer anymore? Holy fuck, dude. No, you've trained yourself to like beer. And if you stop liking beer, guess what? You won't like it.
You won't care.
You won't give a shit. See, so yes, there absolutely. This fears come up, and I think part of the fear is it starts to. I think I said this in another podcast. It starts to fuck with the foundations of things, and if people don't have, if that's all they have, like that's who they really are,
Yeah.
we run into the "who am I" problem again.
Yeah.
And then
Because
it
I'm
scares the
I'm
shit out
honestly
of
I'm
them.
following with you on this experiment, Brennan, and I'm not really detecting an overabundance of resistance anywhere in my being. Like I'm like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
but I don't feel I don't feel threatened by it.
yeah.
It's more like layers of stuff, you know? Just
Right,
kind of,
right, right. Because I think I was reading out your actions. That's why I asked you what you were doing. I was reading out your actions as the actions of somebody who would be threatened or was resisting. But I think you were
yeah.
just working with me and playing the
Yeah,
devil's
yeah.
advocate role, which I read out
So
differently. See,
so should somebody, yeah, it's like go ahead and it's sort of what
like you're gonna like it's okay. You're not gonna die. But they might
from
have to
this.
believe that you're not gonna die from this. There's no fucking way you might go crazy.
Something else will get you.
Yeah, something else. Something has to happen to your body, and your body is way tougher than you are. Yeah, it's tougher than you are. Okay. You go away every night when you sleep. Okay. And your body's like, thank God that fucker's gone.
But if you get who you are, you get what you are,
Yeah.
you get what people are,
Yeah, I would recommend all that.
it helps
It does help.
not hold on to things that don't actually matter at all. They matter so much.
No, they don't. They already, those things that seem to matter already don't exist, likely. So it already doesn't matter. But it can, yeah, it can be scary like that, where that seems to be the resistance about that, or it's that you keep being you. And if you has to hang on to a concept, by God, you're going to hang on to that concept. If you has to be a certain way, there's no force on the planet stronger than that, as far as I can tell.
If you have to be a certain way, there's no force on the planet stronger than that.
I'm speaking metaphorically.
Okay.
But
But it's
no,
pretty tough.
it's pretty tough. It's like as tough as you see how you have objects, like objects keep being objects. And you see how strong that is. Like you can't make objects do something else. Just it's like that kind of strong. It's like real. Seems like real. Like objects. So yeah.
Okay.
Just an invitation from here. Where are we at? What are we doing?
I think we're good. I feel like I've been to a mini workshop through
Love it.
this session.
Yeah.
This is like my personal ongoing Ching Shin workshop.
Yeah. We go to different places. Oh, conundrum. In the spirit of John's insight, your job now is to discover what a concept is.
Or what it isn't.
Yeah, good luck with that second one. And discover how much of your world, what's concept and what isn't in this world that we share. Good luck with that one.
Seriously, good luck with it.
Yes.
Write us in the comments. Tell us
Yes.
about what you discover.
Yeah, tell us what you find out. I want to hear what you find out. And don't tell us some conceptual shit. Well, on experiential. Don't make up more concepts about what concepts are and then tell us conceptually what you got. Don't care. I want some experiential shit. That ought to keep you busy.
But if you fuck up, just write it down anyway. It's good for the YouTube channel.
Yes. Everything in the comments.
All right.
Okay. Those of you, fuck it on the jokes. You're going to have to tune in next time. We love you. Take care. Bye.